the blackness. Keep on.
Good evening. Welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live. I'm your host, Reggie Kearney. Our producer's hanging out with me tonight, Tony Breelove, and we have with us tonight from the Sounds of Blackness, the founder and director, Gary Hines. Gary, how you doing tonight?
I'm blessed through it all, my brother. How are you doing tonight? And how are you, Tony?
I'm well. Thank you, Gary. It's good to have you on.
On behalf of Sounds of Blackness, thank you for having us on.
You're welcome. Now, for all the listeners tonight, you generally see all of us on here, but we were having some technical difficulties, so we decided to have Gary call in, and we're running him from the phone and everything. But he's here in live in flesh. We just couldn't never get his connectivity together. And so we decided it was easier to go this way instead of getting them started and then having the picture free. So you know how technology is. Hey, technology is technology, but I'm thankful that he's here tonight to share his story with us. So Gary, tell us.
Yes, sir.
Tell us, how did you get this journey started? How did this journey begin with you being one of the founders of Sounds of Blackness and the director? How did you get to this point? What got you motivated to start this group, this great group, Sounds of Blackness?
Well, my brother, that's the story. I'll try to condense it.
Okay.
Sounds of Blackness has its origins at my alma mater, Macalester College, here in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And in 1969, Macalester College embarked on a very ambitious program to recruit students of color onto campus, and they were successful with that. And one of the offshoots of that is that the students themselves created a number of different organizations. There was a theater group called Black Arts and Best, a political group called Black Liberation Affairs Committee, BLASD, and this 50 voice singing group called the Macalester College Black Voices. my sophomore year at the school, January specifically, Russell asked me on as director. And it was a great honor then, and of course continues to be now, because they were already professionals back then. And the vision the good Lord gave me, Reggie and Tony, was for this ensemble to be in the mode of great Duke Ellington. Now, we hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, and we should, but too many people don't know that Duke did the music of the culture. Duke wrote and recorded spiritual, gospel, blues, the music of the culture, the music of the African, Afro-Cuban, did all of that. And so that was going to be our mold. And we needed a name to reflect the fact that we were going to sing every sound of the Black experience: jazz, blues, gospel, R&B, hip-hop, soul, spirituals. And so that meaning and origin name, Sounds of Blackness, and that was January of 1991. So as of January 2021, we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary.
That's incredible. That is totally, totally incredible. I mean, I can say Sounds of Blackness has been one of my favorites. I don't know about you, Reggie, but when we were preparing for the show, Gary, that's all I listened to. That is all I listened to. I even gave up MSNBC for you.
Oh, bless you, my sister.
Now,
thank you so very much.
So, in listening to you and finding, and as being one of is when you all were putting this group together, you wanted to make sure that you had that sound that covered all the music of our community. And I've heard that in all your songs that you do. You know, the Christmas song that y'all do is one of the songs that I really love. I really love listening to that song at Christmas time. I can almost listen to it year round. And then your other song that's a favorite of mine is I think it's You Are Royalty. That's a great song because it lets us know that we are worth something there. You know, there's a lot of people out here don't think we as Black folks aren't worth anything, but that song speaks to our worth. Okay, and I appreciate the fact that you guys in the group put that song together. Now, you have maintained this group for how many years now? How many years have y'all been together?
Well, like I said, we're entering our 50th year.
Okay.
I'm the only original member that's still performing. You know, we got a younger and newer crew now, but we're entering our 50th year in Sounds of Blackness.
That's great. That's awesome and everything. Now, how does one become a member of the group? Is it still based on Macalester College, or now it's based on members of the community in that area?
Great question too, Brother Reggie, because even the answer is, and then I'll elaborate a bit on it. Certainly community, and you know, we get requests for auditions from across the country and even from around the world, overseas. But even in our Macalester days, another reason that we changed our name to Sounds of Blackness was because even back then, while we primarily had members who, including myself, were students at Macalester College, we also had members from the community and from some of the surrounding colleges, Augsburg College, Hamlin University. And so the name was more appropriate, Sounds of Blackness, because it also was more reflective of the membership as well, as opposed to only being Macalester College students.
Yeah, okay. Then longevity has its place, and you all have done a great job at maintaining your longevity over these years. How has the journey been? You know, because in the trailer, we see all these awards you guys have, the choir has won, the group has won. How does it feel to have won so many awards in the music industry?
Well, brother, it's a number of feelings. First of all, and always first, thankfulness and gratefulness to God Almighty who makes all of it possible. So there's thankfulness and gratefulness, and it's very humbling as well. So So, you know, it's something that really verifies and validates who we are and what we do, and by our peers, especially the awards. But I tell you, as much as we treasure the awards, the real life grassroots stuff is really ultimately what it's all about. We have had people come up to us after a performance, or even sometimes away from the cameras and all of that, or at an airport or wherever it may be, and tell us things like our music helped to save their life, or that they were contemplating suicide and heard one of our songs and it turned their life around or got them out of an abusive relationship. So the Grammys and all of that are wonderful blessings, and we do treasure them. But that real life stuff is ultimately what it's all about.
Amen, 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 amen. Then tell me, and then in the trailer, y'all have performed with so many groups. What group you haven't performed with?
Right.
Well, ironically, in terms of who we have not performed with, we would love to have my favorite artist of all time. It's the Godfather Soul, James Brown, and we would have, and I would have just been beside myself, as my grandmama used to say, to have performed with the Godfather. Now, we were blessed to meet him on a number of different occasions and speak with him. He was well aware of and said that he loved Sounds of Blackness. So, of course, we were greatly honored by that. But we never got a chance to hit the stage together.
Yeah. Look, I can hear the Godfather song there say, "Hit me, Gary, hit me."
Well, you know what? I tell you, that would have been a beautiful thing. But I give him the credit because he wrote and recorded the single most impactful and important song in the history of African American people. Say It Loud.
Oh yes,
because
he did.
You and I grew up with it, and you know, I'm a native of Yonkers, New York. So shout out to the East Coast. And I say that to say this. You know, the N-word, you know, being called the N-word happened so often that while it was still offensive and we would still fight about it, you know, it almost was commonplace. But what was deep about it is at the time, in terms of the mentality, what was even worse in many minds was when they called us a black nappy-head African. So those vestiges of slavery that incorporated and indoctrinated self-hatred and loathing and distance from our African roots and encouraged by the slave master, and that have been passed down for centuries, and the colorism that's still pervasive in our culture and other cultures of color, but it's so pervasive that when he said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud," it dispelled all of that. And no single song, not "We Shall Overcome," you can't name one that has really impacted us directly at a visceral level, and done more to shed those vestiges of slavery than "Say It Loud, I'm black and I'm proud."
You know, we need to start back singing that song now.
You know what?
You know, because
that's right.
But look, let me say something, Gary. Why don't you all, as a group, Sounds of Blackness, put y'all's touch on "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud"?
Something?
In honor of the Godfather. You know what? I love the idea, brother. You know, I mean, I laughed when you said it, but I'm serious about my reaction. Yeah, you got my wheels turning already, brother.
Yeah, look now. If you do it, send me a copy of it so I can hear it. Cause I know it's gonna sound good. You know,
I don't need a copy.
You know what? We go there. You will even get the demo before anybody else here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, my brother.
No,
What you say, Tony?
I'm just gonna go ahead and do my photo bomb. I'm gonna show up at the shoot. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, and that colorism thing, you know, is so deep, y'all. I know you all know. You've been black all your life.
Oh, yeah.
It brings to mind one other story quickly, if I may. And it winds up being hilarious, but then very telling at the same time. My mom, the late great Gary Hines, a world-renowned jazz singer in her own right, and she and her sisters were in New York. Their mom was really from Jamaica, but grew up in New York, of course, where we're from. And as they were in foster homes, they lost their mom at an early age. And where I'm going with this, when they started to become of dating age, they wound up in several different foster homes through the system. And in almost every foster home, when they became of dating age, what they were told by black folks was, don't date anyone who's too dark skinned. Your kids will be too black. Okay, so yeah, that's how pervasive that colorism thing was. So, but you know what? God don't like ugly. You know, so they just kept telling them. My aunt Grace, my aunt Geneva, and my mom Doris, don't y'all date no dark skinned boys. Don't bring no dark skinned boys. Don't you marry no dark skinned. Don't marry. Guess what? All three of them did. That's the trick. That's why I say in the repetition that "Saying Loud, Black and I'm Proud" was the most prolific and impactful song in our history.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I think James Brown, when he wrote that song, he knew it was a song for the time that we needed.
Yes,
that song during the times we were going through. You know, I remember, you know, singing it when I was coming up. I had my afro picking the back of my hair, and my hand up in the air with my fist ball. You know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it was something that we needed. It's something that we needed.
Yes.
But I mean, getting back to, like I say, you guys have performed with so many groups, you know. Gosh, y'all have been out there, you know, and like I said earlier, it lends to your longevity. You know, a lot of groups can't even stay together for 15 minutes. You know, as opposed to the number of years you guys have been together. So that's very important that this sound continues on and on and on, because a lot of times you hear it with the different R&B groups. You hear it with the New Temptations or the Four Tops or the Delphonics. You know, the younger guys are continuing on the sound. You know, sending out, you know, my prayers to the Temptations. They just recently lost their lead singer a couple of weeks ago. You know, so it's very important that our music continues to live on. You know, even after we're gone, you know, there's a vehicle is put in place that will continue to allow our music to be carried on and everything. So tell me about the Minneapolis music scene, okay? Because I know a lot of great artists have come out of Minneapolis. You know, you got Terry Jam and his can't even think of his partner. You got The Time, and a lot of other groups, and then you got Prince that came out in Minneapolis sound. You know, we always thought that Detroit was a place for the music. You know, that Detroit, you know, drove music for the black community. But when you look at Minneapolis, you know, y'all were doing y'all thing out there too.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, Brother Ricky, because again, I'm just going to take, if I may, just a moment with this, because a lot of people ask the question, and it's directly related to your question. I'm often asked, well, you know, Gary, we know you're a native New Yorker, and you know your mom was singing jazz in New York. What in the world brought you to Minneapolis, you know, in the '60s from New York? And what many people don't know is that at the time, the 50s, the 60s, and even early 70s, the Twin Cities here, Minneapolis, St. Paul, was actually a jazz mecca. I mean, people like Ellington and Basie were here all the time. There were jazz ballrooms and supper clubs, and that's how my mama got here. She was booked for a 2-week period and got held over for a year and fell in love with the Twin Cities and moved us here. So that's how we got, because of that. And that's part one. Part two, when we moved to Minneapolis from Yonkers, and at the time it was like we were to another planet in a lot of ways. But one of the, you know, of course, and one of those ways was how small the black population was. But it was small but very dynamic, and especially musically. There were great blues, jazz, gospel, and there were R&B groups here who could rival some of the Motown groups. Showtime Part 1 and 2, Philadelphia Story, Midwest Express. You probably, I'm sure you haven't heard those names, but that, really appealed to us. There were black drum and fiddle corps here, and that was a tradition that my brothers and sisters and I came from back in Yonkers. So, of course, we became members of those drum corps. So it was, what happens is that when you're in that situation where you're such a minority, and I hate that word, but one of two things will happen. Either you get totally absorbed by the majority culture, or you really cleave to your culture and explode and have your own Harlem Renaissance. And that's what Minneapolis had. So Prince didn't evolve out of a vacuum. Prince, who was a longtime friend of mine for 40 plus years, before we even were old enough, we went to the same high school and to the same junior high school, just not at the exact same time. But we would stand outside some of the clubs that we were too young to get into and listen to the jazz, listen to the funk, the R&B, the soul. And so all of that was just really pervasive throughout the black community here in the Twin Cities, going back that far. And so Sounds of Blackness didn't evolve in a vacuum. All of that music was very richly and just in the atmosphere.
Okay, so now looking back at Purple Rain, now I understand why the music that he was playing that his father had left was jazz.
Yes.
I was always trying to figure that out. So now you're giving me the answer to that part of the movie, the jazz portion.
Yeah, see that whole allusion to that in Purple Rain, and his how prominent Prince made that part of the storyline was deliberate. That was Prince's homage to the legacy from which he emanated, and that I was just elaborating on. That was going on here, and so he. And I say that to say one other thing too quickly. Prince was the general media, I notice, tends to downplay how Afrocentric that brother really was. He loved all people, but he had a special love for black people, and was unashamedly, unapologetically. I mean, that's why he went to Baltimore. When that went down, when the brother was killed by the police, and had the outdoor concert and go to record the song. I think that was, and people were like, Prince is doing it? No, y'all just don't know him from that. But so he was down for the people, and that's why that scene or that storyline was so prominent in Purple Rain.
Well, can I ask one question? Gary, do you think, because with Prince having such a connection to his blackness, to our black culture, do you think that is what led him to then start to move in the direction of gaining his own publishing rights, taking the rights out of the record company or the labels for his publishing completely? Because that's what I think that's what it was about. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, the short answer is yes. You're absolutely right, my sister. When he wrote "Slave" on his forehead, now he was saying that was 2 or 3 levels deep, but it obviously was real deliberate. Again, and the independence, and he and I would talk more nights than I could ever tell you. 2 or 3 in the morning. He would call 2 or 3 in the morning and want to have a conversation like it was like the middle of the day. That was just a kind of inside joke. But one of the things he would always talk about, Reggie and Tony, was independence and freedom and liberation, and that his situation with the record label with Warner was analogous to black folks' situation in terms of not being free and not having independence and self-control. Like I say, a lot of times the media doesn't even touch on it, but he would trust me. That's where he was at.
Okay. Now look, did Prince ever write any songs for the Sounds of Blackness? Did he ever write anything for you?
Actually, yes. And the way he did that, he wrote them, and then I'll give you the answer and then elaborate, because he always did things differently. He would write the song, and unbeknownst to us, I guess is the word I was looking for, and then I would get one of those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning calls from him. And he had a lot of little quirks. He was a prankster. He was brilliant, obviously a genius. But knowing him 40 plus years, he would still almost always say my full name. So at 2 in the morning, Gary Hines, I have something for Sounds of Blackness, Gary Hines. Okay. And so yeah, he wrote it. And so we would come out to Paisley, and record kind of thing. So we did a few songs for some of his albums. On Love Sexy, we did that song "The Cross," and then on the Batman soundtrack, we did "Scandalous," and the other title escaping me. Forgive me. My grandmama used to say, "Boy, you got a good forgettery." So I'm sorry about that, but I'll think of it. But so yeah, the answer is yes, but it wasn't. Normally, you approach an artist and sit down, you tell what's gonna happen, and then you record after the fact. Prince would do something and then let you know he's got something and say, okay, now let's take it. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. This is an awesome conversation we're having here tonight. Awesome conversation we're having here tonight. Yeah, so like I said, the Minneapolis music scene was on the money. It was. And it still is on the money. And you took the words out of my mouth. Yes, it still is on the money. So what's the future like for the Sounds of Blackness? Okay, what do you want to see going down the road, and what is your vision for the Sounds of Blackness for maybe the next 10 to 15 years?
Well, my brother, to continue to bring the music of the Black experience to the world, and that's our number one goal. We say is to glorify God by uplifting all people through all of Black music, and so we want that to continue first and foremost, but to continue on with the next generation. So we have been working extensively and recording with and doing videos with and shows with a number of groups. None Above, shout out to None Above, a great family band, and they are amazing. Forgiven, another family vocal acapella group, they're unbelievable. We work with, of course, our special guests on royalty and on Sick and Tired, our students from HSRA, which stands for High School for Recording Arts. So it's about bringing up that next generation and lighting their torch. A lot of times people say, well, Gary, 50 years, congratulations, but now it's about time for you to pass the torch. And I tell them, I ain't passing nothing. And the reason I get what they mean, but what I gently correct them, that's why I always say it humorously, is what I will do and what I think we all should do is never to pass our torch, because our torch has been given for us to do what we're meant to do. But what we do is to light the torch of the next generation. So and I know some people say you're kind of nitpicking words, but no, there's a big difference. Your torch is your torch, but you light the torch of the next generation. So we've been busy lighting the torch of the next generation so that this continues, as your question infers.
So let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, Reggie, because it's like when Gary mentioned Sick and Tired. If you haven't heard this song, you need to look it up on YouTube. It plays into the climate that we are in right now. I mean, stock and barrel is just right there, and it's just right there where it needs to be. It says exactly what's going on, what we're sick and tired of, and that we're going to fight through this. But for those who are watching tonight, listening in, you have got to listen to this song. I was so struck by this song. Who actually wrote Sick and Tired?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my sister. Well, I'll answer your question. I'm the songwriter on Sick and Tired, but you know what? I believe in the words of the late, great country artist, Chet Atkins.
All right.
He said there are no songwriters. All music is given. And so it was given to me. But really, it's about sharing the music. I mean, the great Paul Robeson once said that all true artists have a responsibility to their people. And so Sounds About to take that seriously. And thank you for your accolades about Sick and Tired. I want to tell you just a little bit more about it, if I may.
Go ahead.
Brother George Floyd was murdered like 5 blocks right from where Sounds of Blackness rehearses, right in the heart of the Black community, South Minneapolis. And the relevance of that, he was murdered on a Monday, and the first protests were the next night on Tuesday, which is normally our vocal rehearsal night. But of course, I canceled rehearsal that night, and we were all at the site. And this young white teenage young lady came up to me, and she recognized me from the group, and she had her Black Lives Matter sign. And I said, hey, young lady, it's great that you're out here. And she said, Sounds of Blackness, you guys are my favorite group. She said, and I know you guys are going to do a song about this, but please do me a favor. She said, don't make it a happy song. And I said, young lady, I promise you that will not happen. Because the atmosphere in Minneapolis then and still now was one of anger, outrage, and righteous indignation. And in fact, I'll finish up the answer by saying this. Even some Black radio stations now, are a little resistant to play Sick and Tired, believe it or not, because they're afraid of offending people. But, the irony is, to me, some of those same stations have no problem and don't worry about playing wet-ass pussy. Excuse me, Tony.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and you call yourself Black radio. But anyway, so that's another part of the background. When Brother Floyd was killed, what the good Lord put on in his warped brain and mind, the word of the great Fannie Lou Hamer, in 1964, at the Democratic National Convention, told the world, sick and tired, being sick and tired. And she was talking about brutality and injustice and white supremacy and systemic racism. So her words, how telling is it? Her words, 50, 60 years later, are just as, if not even more relevant.
Okay, for our listeners, okay, because we ain't got that time on our hand right now. I don't have nowhere to go. Tony don't have nowhere to go, and Gary doesn't have nowhere to go. I'm going to play this song, okay?
Before you play it, let me say this.
Okay.
Before you play it, when I say this song is so relevant to where we are right now, that sister who is in the front, who is your lead singer on this song, I'm telling you, she did her thing. She did her thing. And the words are powerful. I'm loving this, Gary.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a song from Sounds of Blackness entitled Sick and Tired, okay? And we're going to go ahead and play it. I don't care what the other guys don't want to do. We're going to play it here on Urban Sentinel Live right now.
Gotta take your knee on my neck. Sick and tired of being sick and
Oh.
Oh yeah, can we get a hallelujah up in here?
Wow.
Amen.
Amen.
My brother.
Oh
Gary,
man,
get your thing on that.
that song was on it.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
So
But,
now,
oh my God.
saying that you saying that radio stations don't want to play this song?
You know why? Because people are sick and tired. And the moment you mention the word revolution, that's when everybody backs off. That's when everybody starts to get in their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time for us to revolt. It's time.
My irritation right now with everything that's going on is that we won't come together and fight like we did back in the 60s. And you know how it was back in the 60s and 70s, Gary.
That's right.
I mean, we went out there to fight. We had to. We wouldn't be where we are right now if we hadn't got in fought hard for change. Okay. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be where we are now. So that's an awesome song that you wrote. I mean, that is an awesome song. An awesome song. The radio, and that's an anthem song right there. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you both so very much on behalf of all the Sounds of Blackness. Thank you.
Let me ask you something, Gary. And this is for the Sounds of Blackness, because I love you guys. I really do. Because there are copyright issues, will you give me permission to play that song?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? You broke up a little bit, Tony. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Because copyright issues keeps me from putting it out and playing it during our broadcast, unless I have your permission. Can I play that song since the mainstream won't?
Oh, you most definitely have my permission, our permission. In fact, you know what's so wild? I guess it must be in the air today. My good friend, the daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson, Santita Jackson, is in a similar situation. I spoke with her literally just hours ago, and she wanted to play the song so badly, but took the same strictures that you're under, and she just needed an email from me, granting position. And so, of course, I sent that too. So, absolutely, and if that's what you would like, your wish is my command. We were honored to have you play it. Thank you so much.
Can I tag along too?
Gary, I am going to make sure that people hear this song all over the world, because it's just not in our nation that I think that we are suffering the injustices that we are living with right now. This is being suffered by people all across the world.
Yeah.
And if they have something to hold on to, such as the anthem that you have been able to bless us with, then I want to be that one too, to get it out there.
Yeah.
I don't care about what mainstream. That's what we do. We tell the truth around here. And what that song is truth. And that's what we're going to do. So thank you, Gary.
Definitely international, and I know you all have seen the pictures from around the world. In fact, we're so thankful and proud that Sounds of Blackness is. You saw the picture of Dusseldorf, Germany, where 20,000 people in the streets of downtown Dusseldorf. This was some weeks ago now, but 20,000 Germans kneeling in commemoration of Brother George Floyd.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is that one of the organizers of that, his name is Rainier Lambert, and he is the president of Sounds of Blackness Germany fan club. I mean, so I say that to say this truly is international. It really is.
It really is. It really is. And we have you to thank for keeping this music going, keeping the music that is uplifting and speaking to our people and all people. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and all love to everyone of Sounds of Blackness.
Yes.
Thank you. This virus has messed up everything. I would love to try to set up a concert on the East Coast with Sound of Blackness. Just you guys, you know. I don't need nobody. I don't need another group on that. I know y'all got enough songs in y'all repertoire to sing a couple hours.
Oh yeah, more than that.
With no problem. You know, with no problem. Have y'all thought about doing like a pay for view concert?
I'm sorry, because you broke up a little bit too, Brother Reggie. Could you repeat that?
Oh no, I was asking, have you all thought about doing a pay for view concert, given the times we're in?
You know what? We have not done that per se. We have been, Sounds of Blackness has done a number of virtual performances, concerts over the past, since the lockdown, I should say, for everything from the Black Women's National Summit to the Black Economic Summit National, for the NFL. We did Lift Every Voice. And of course, this was all, spaced, social distance and virtual in a large enough studio, and video and so on. So we haven't done a pay-per-view per se, but we've been moving in that direction with the advent of these other activities that I mentioned to you. And I just wanted to say, in closing on that answer, it's a little bit of a tangent, but I'd be remiss, and thank you both for your accolades about Sick and Tired. I can't say that enough. But like I said, we consider it more than music. It's a message and it's a movement. And we, Sounds of Blackness, are donating a portion of the proceeds from any sales of the Sick and Tired single and our T-shirts. A lot of people have asked about the T-shirts in our video, which everybody can put on YouTube. So we're donating a portion of those proceeds to the George Floyd Scholarship Fund here in Minneapolis. So you can know that if you go to soundsofblackness.org, or any of our other sites on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you purchase a Sounds of Blackness T-shirt or the single Sick and Tired, you are also contributing to the George Floyd Scholarship Fund.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. That's good. That's very honorable. That's great. That is so great. Now, I forgot to tell everyone before we got started, because I was so excited that we were getting started with this, with the great Gary Hines, founder and director of Sounds of Blackness, that Gary was featured in one of my magazines, the Urban Sentinel magazine that I operate, and we did an article on him. But this article wasn't about Sounds of Blackness; it was about Gary Hines, the man, and his, how he got to where he is right now. His journey. And that's what it was all about. It was about his journey. It was a great story, and the readers really liked the story, because they saw another side of Gary. They didn't see the Sounds of Blackness side. They saw the side of the man that had, grown into who he is today. Grown into who he is today.
Listen, you all did an amazing job with that story. Made the old man sound and feel good. So, thank you. No, but I say it humorously, but I'm quite serious. You all did a phenomenal job, and I can't thank you enough.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. It was a great story, and I found a new friend for life, and and meeting Gary and talking to Gary.
Yes, sir.
And doing this story, But Gary, I do appreciate you taking time out tonight to be on the show with us. I know we had a little, technical difficulties, getting started tonight, but, technology still works. We brought you across the line on the phone. The listeners were able to hear you, able to see Tony and I, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Again, on behalf of Sounds of Blackness singers and band, and our band doesn't get enough props proportionally as the singers do, so that's why I keep saying that. But on behalf of Sounds of Blackness singers and band, Brother Reggie, Sister Tony, we can't thank you enough. There's a scripture that says, "How will they hear without a preacher?" Well, when it comes to music, how will they hear without a DJ, without a station? Without Urban Sentinel, and so we can make all the music we want, but without people like you to support it and put it out there for the masses, it won't be heard. So thank you.
We're gonna put it out there. Look, now I'm about ready to walk down the basement, get my trombone out, and shine it up, and then come on out to Minneapolis.
Come on,
sit out, sit in with y'all one night.
Come on, man, come on, let's fire up this phone.
Man, I haven't played my trombone since 19.
Oh boy, really?
Probably. I probably look get on that thing, man. Probably wouldn't know where to go with it, you know. But
Brother, but you know what? It never goes away.
nah.
Down there waiting on you.
Yeah, I know it is. It is, man.
Yeah.
But it has really been great, and we're gonna do this again sometimes in the future. You know, maybe next year we'll hook up and do this again. And like I said, if there's anything that Tony and I can do, you know, to help promote you guys, you know, and get the music out, you know. I mean, I might come back across in a couple of months and, you know, tell you, give me some members from Sound of Blackness. I want to interview them, you know, on the show, you know, and talk about, you know, and really seriously, I would love to talk to some of them about their journey, especially the younger ones that are coming in to the group now, you know, because, I mean, you know, looking at the video of Sick and Tired, you got a lot of young folks in there now. You know, and
that's right.
They got to carry the torch. You know, they got to really carry the torch on.
Yes.
So yeah, you got anything else, Tony? Yeah, you got anything else?
I'm just honored. I'm honored to be a part of this show tonight. Sitting here with Reggie, listening to your words, Gary, listening to how you have overcome and succeeded in everything that you had to do musically to get a message out. And I'm just honored. And like Reggie said, if there's absolutely anything that we can do for you in the Sound of Blackness, I would hope that you would reach out to us without any reservation, because this is what we do for those who carry that torch like you do, and make sure that that message is put out there. And I know that the people that are listening tonight and watching in, I know they feel the same way. So if there's anything that this network, that Urban Sentinel Live can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
You know what? I received that on behalf of Sound of Blackness. We thank you. We bless you for it. I can feel the sincerity in your words and through the spirit. You know, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. So we feel your sincerity with that, and that goes both ways. Any way we can return the love with even just smaller the interviews, drops, you know, promotions, whatever. We thank you, and we'll take you up on that.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. You know, you always got a place. You know, Urban Sentinel Live, Urban Sentinel Magazine, Urban Sentinel website, you know.
Everything. HTR Network.
Let me know if, like I say, we were talking about a moment ago, if I need to, you know, send a permission, an email just for verification or whatever, you tell me, and I'm honored to do it because we're so thankful for you for doing it.
Yeah, well, you got my email, man. Just go and send it, okay? Okay. So look. This is my favorite song here as we finish this up.
Yeah.
So we are royalty. And so look, to our listeners, I want to thank all the listeners for listening in tonight. You heard the man himself from the Sounds of Blackness, the founder and director, Gary Hines. Gary, thank you. We appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
And we'll be talking soon, okay? Tell everybody, give everybody my love and the Sound of Blackness tonight. Tell them we appreciate the fact that they let us have you for a minute, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Take care, man. Have a good night.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right. God bless.
Okay.
God bless you. So you've been listening and watching in on Urban Sentinel Live with Reggie Kearney, and of course our phenomenal guest Gary Hines, the founder and director of Sounds of Blackness. So I'm hoping that you will follow Reggie over there rocking out. I'm hoping you'll follow Urban Sentinel Live right here on Facebook. Just look us up. Make sure that you hit the follow button so that you can get show notifications of all of the guests that are coming to Urban Sentinel Live, hosted by Reggie Kearney. The show is always at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast every Monday night. Tomorrow night, I'm hoping that you'll come on back right here on Facebook and join Reggie Kearney and Sherry Ann Chapman. I'm going to sit in as well. I'm not going to have a voice by the end of the week. But I'm going to sit in tomorrow night as we talk about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and how that is affecting what we have going on right now. in the confirmation of a Republican to take her seat, doing that before the election, all of that. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night on Real World News TV right here on Facebook. So we'll see you tomorrow night. Make sure that you follow Urban Sentinel Live on Facebook. I'm Tony Breedlove. That soulful gentleman right there is Mr. Reggie Kearney. And again, thank you, Mr. Gary Hines, founder and director of Sounds of Blackness. We'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.
Good night, everyone.
I love the Tonight Show. I'm trying to get all the banners down.
Hey, good night, Tony.
Night, everybody. Night, Reg.